in South America that lasted from 1811 to 1819. Its government was a federation with a parliament consisting of a strong legislation and a weak executive. As you can see from the image here, it was mostly the western part of the northwestern part of South America and contained some of Central America. Gran Colombia. Gran Colombia was a state that encompassed much of northern South America and part of Central America from 1819 to 1831. At its peak, it was considered one of the most powerful nations of the planet, and was even considered so by John Quincy Adams, a man who would go on to become one of America's presidents. It was a unitary centralist state, and its political ideals led to conflicts between some of its federalist populace and the centralist government. However, one notable event from the state was when it got into a controversial feud with Peru, which started in 1828 and ended 1 year later in 1829. In the end, the war had sparked an internal crisis, but also started the separation of Venezuela and Ecuador.
Simon Bolivar. Born in Caracas, Venezuela, Simon Jose Antonio de la Santísima Trinidad Bolivar de Palacios Ponte Andrade y Blanco, or better known as Simon Bolivar, was born into wealth. Sadly, his father died before his third birthday, along with his mother when he was almost 9. However, some most important moments of his life were when he helped Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, and other South American countries during the independence movement. Another was when he led the Magdalena campaign, one of the most successful military campaigns in history. As you can see, here's a picture of him on the right-hand corner. Francisco de Paula Santander. So what we know about him is that he was born in April the 2nd, 1792, in Rosario, New Granada, which is basically Colombia's former Elias. He was primarily known as the president of New Granada on 1833 until 1837. Not only that, he also served as both a soldier and a statesman for the South American independence movement. And one bad thing that happened to him was that he was attacked by conspirators in 1828. Here's a picture of him on the right.
The Junta de Santa Fe happened in 1810. On July 20th, 1820, Francisco Jose de Caladas and Camilo Torres led the Junta de Santa Fe. A junta was a group of people taking power in the 1800s. This junta created the Republic of Colombia. Eventually, it made the Colombian Declaration of Independence.
Simón Bolívar's campaign to liberate New Granada. It was established in 1817 by the Orinoco region. He brought his troops across the Cordillera Oriental. It was conceived in late 1818 and early 1919, and the bulk of the royalist army surrendered to Bolivar due to this.
This is a Congress of Angostura. The Congress of Angostura was made by Simón Bolívar in order to make the rules in Venezuela in a legal and safe way. It was made at Orinoco River port of Angostura, which is called Congress of Angostura. The Congress was made on February 15th, 1819, and the Congress ended on July 19th, 1820.
Battle of Cariboba. It first started in June 24th, 1821. It was commanded by Simon Bolivar and the Irish Brigade. They defended the Spanish in Cariboba, one of the 23 states in Venezuela, and Bolivar led a superior army of around 6,500 troops to the British Isles. Here's a brief example of what actually happened, and credit to Clockwork Daniel for this artwork.
Gran Colombia-Peru War was from 1828 to 1829. The Gran Colombia-Peru War was the first international war fought between the Republic and fought by the Republic of Peru. The issues that led to war were claims by Gran Colombia to territories in northern Peru, including cities such as Pasto, Popayan, Cali, Buenaventura, and Buga. However, some of the territories involved during that time period were on the northern side of Peru. As you can see in the areas that are both red and blue, these were the disputed areas. Initial conflicts. After the wars for the freedom of South America, Simón Bolívar established the Uti Possessus Juris as the basis for the outlining of territories. This principle meant that any territories that a country had before its independence would be kept after it gained its independence. This principle would have worked, but much of Ecuador became an area with land claimed by Peru and Colombia. Before leading Gran Colombia, Simón Bolívar had briefly been the president of Bolivia until he relinquished the presidency to his friend Antonio José de Sucre in 1826. De Sucre helped him in his many battles for independence. Peru took the opportunity to end Bolívar's influence and force Colombians to leave Bolivia. Upon hearing the news, Bolívar was enraged. He resolved to declare war against Peru in June 1828. On the 10th of July, 1829, the Armistice of Piura outlined the nation to which territories belonged. It was ratified the 22nd of September, and the Guadalajara Treaty was signed the same day, ending the war. This image here is an image of the Battle of Punta Malpelo, the first battle of the Gran Colombia-Peru War.
A conclusion. So in conclusion, New Granada has faced some historical events, such as the War of Cariboba, as discussed earlier, and the feud with Gran Colombia and Peru, also discussed earlier. Not only that, it was also that time when Simón Bolívar and Francisco de la Paula Santander were born. And here's the works cited.